Hello, it's day 3 at the BGC Masters at Alexandra Palace, and look at this. This must be the most impressive players' lounge in the world. A perfect place to quaff something sparkly after a victory. Mind you, there's not much time for relaxing around here because our first round matches, every one worthy of a final, have been coming thick and fast. And already 4 of our 16 contenders, for whom the champagne remains on ice, have departed the scene. They've packed their bags and gone home. Our defending champion Ding Junhui jumped on a plane to the Far East for Chinese New Year. Ronnie O'Sullivan wished him bon voyage after a 6-4 win. And that set up a quite enticing quarter-final against Judd Trump on Thursday after the new UK champion dispatched Stuart Bingham. Northern Ireland's Mark Allen lit up the UK final last month, only just falling short. Great match in prospect tonight against former world champ and fellow lefty Neil Robertson. Double Masters winner Mark Williams had to work hard for his passage to the quarters against Stephen Maguire. Now, this is Mark Selby's favourite event with 2 titles in the last 4 years. Stephen Lee hasn't played in London since losing the 2008 final to the Jester. Shaun Murphy's match against Martin Gould took place last night. We'll be reflecting on that a little later. Neither Ali Carter nor Graham Dott have much enjoyed their previous competitive visits to the capital. Neither has been beyond the quarters yet. They play tomorrow night. And the meeting of 2 former Masters champs, John Higgins and Mathew Stevens, is what we're preparing for today. Yes, and with 3 Masters titles between them, it's Higgins against Stevens that is our feature match this afternoon. And isn't it great that Barry Hearn got 2 specially commissioned paintings of the boys to make them feel at home here? Yes, the world champion admits he hasn't enjoyed a capital time in this event of late. Might a change of venue inspire him to a 3rd title? Welcome back, Mathew, who's aiming to win his first match at the Masters since last lifting the trophy in 2000. We'll reflect on some sparkling play last night from Shaun Murphy as he bids to add the Masters to his UK and world crowns. After his pugnacious performance in pushing Judd Trump in York before Christmas, we'll hear how Mark Allen fancies his chances now. Whilst Ken Doherty will be sent to the Q Zone later, answerable only to you and your questions via Twitter. Get those tweets in. Well, our afternoon match does feel a little bit like a blast from the past because it wasn't too long ago that John Higgins and Mathew Stevens were meeting one another in the later stages of the big event. But in 2007, Mathew dropped out of the elite top 16 and he hasn't appeared in the Masters since. He's itching to get going here at Ali Pali. But you know, this move to North London might suit John Higgins too because his record at Wembley Arena was pretty terrible. In 4 of the last 5 years there, he's been bundled out in round 1.
The atmosphere is fantastic, but obviously Ronnie was playing Ding, which was a big match, and then a lot of people come and see Judd. So if that's anything in the crowds to go by, it's going to be a great week of snooker. There's a big crowd there expecting a lot. You can freeze and you can't play your best, but it's better to play in front of a big crowd than it is now in front of nobody. I always felt I was a little bit overawed now at the Wembley Conference Arena. I don't know why. Obviously I've won a couple of times there, but the rest I just felt overawed with the whole venue. And then the same again at Wembley Arena. I never ever played decent there. So hopefully, when I heard Barry Hearn was going to be changing, I was delighted because I was thinking that might change my luck in the events. I'm sure if it is a good first year here, it could be here to stay. Mathew's he's won this before, he's won the UK Championship before, so he's back into the top 16, which he always was, now a top 16 player. So he's back playing the way he can play, and he definitely deserves to be in this tournament again.
And so say all of us. Now, Stephen Hendry was a man who clearly loved Wembley, the conference centre and the arena, of course. But it is very strange to hear somebody of John Higgins' stature to hear him say he was overawed by that venue.
It's incredible, especially when you look at the success he's had in his career at the Crucible and the other great venues. The UK Championship was a great success. So it's surprising to hear that sort of the second biggest tournament, as I always looked at it, with the best players in the world, that he was overawed by the big venues. But yeah, 4 of the last 5 years, the first round. I can only assume he's celebrating too much over Christmas and New Year. He's not woken up yet. Psychologically,
do you think this change is going to help him?
Well, it's a fresh venue for everyone. It's a clean slate. Everyone's starting off, you know, it's a brand new tournament, as it were. The top 16, as we know now with the rankings, is changing all the time. So it's not always the familiar faces now. So it's everyone's starting off as a brand new tournament. I think they're all looking forward to it.
I think everybody is delighted to see Mathew Stevens back, and it was only last month that he made a little bit of history. He was part of it. He made his first ever maximum. The same day, Ding made a maximum too in one of the smaller events. But how close do you feel Mathew is to his former glory days?
Well, he's always been a top 8 player in my eyes. His technique and his style of play is fantastic to watch. A complete natural talent, and it's incredible. I mean, I think a tremendous waste of talent to see him go out the 16 and spend so many years in the wilderness. But now he's back where he belongs, and he's a threat to anyone in the tournament.
The irony is he's on record as saying that he now values being back in this top 16 more than ever because the calendar's expanded and he doesn't have to expend more energy qualifying for these big events, something that you're, of course, now having to deal with.
Nobody knows that more than me at the moment. I'm here, there and everywhere, and it is a tough schedule. You know, in between tournaments and travelling abroad, you've got to go back to Sheffield or Gloucester, play one qualifying match, then go straight to another tournament. So I'm finding it really tough. I'm enjoying the fact I'm playing lots of snooker, competitive snooker, but it's tough. But I think, yeah, if you do get back in the 16, as Mathew and the likes of Mark Williams have, I think the second time you appreciate it a lot more.
OK, well, I'm sure that these guys are going to serve up something very decent today. You're in the studio with me today. Looking forward to that, Stephen. And Ken, who's going to be in the comm box today?
Well, I'm delighted to be joining the commentary box here with the former 3-times Masters champion, Steve Davis, and former UK champion, John Virgo. John, if I could start with you. The bookies and the history between these two players would suggest a John Higgins win. However, Mathew Stevens, on his day, capable of beating anybody.
Well, yes, and this is just reward for getting down to some hard work and getting his place back in the top 16. That's what this tournament was all about. It's a reward for that. But of course, he's playing the world champion. It's not going to be easy.
No. And Steve, John Higgins, after a fantastic season last year, this season he's had a paltry return. He hasn't really kicked off for him, has it?
No, I think perhaps it's understandable. He did put every effort into last season, and it was superb. So I think from John Higgins' perspective, he's always dangerous. He is, in my opinion, the greatest player that's ever held a cue. All-round match player. Marvellous. I think this venue might suit him slightly better than the arena at Wembley or the conference centre. It's slightly more intimate. I think that may help him. But of course he's up against a player who's coming back to form, probably because he's been playing a lot more snooker recently. Some of the PTs I think have probably helped Mathew Stevens. Even though John Higgins is going to be the favourite, I don't think that Mathew Stevens is ever outclassed on a snooker table. It should be a cracking match.
Quick prediction?
Close.
John?
Yeah, I think Mathew seems to get every chance, but obviously he'd have to favour John Higgins, and I agree with Steve. I think this venue will suit him more than the conference centre and the arena did.
OK, well, we're all looking forward to it. It's over to you, Rob Walker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Battle of the Celts this afternoon at the VGC Masters. Both players waiting at the top of the stairs have won this before, but there's only room for one of them in this year's quarter-finals. Please welcome one of the finest Welsh players to grace the game over the last 2 decades. Twice a World Championship finalist. He won the Masters back in 2000, making his first appearance here in 5 years after reclaiming his place in the world's top 16. Here comes the Welsh Dragon. Here comes Mathew Stevens.
Oh my gosh. Baby, let me. I did it again, so I'm gonna let go. Oh my, baby, let me down. There's so many ways to love you. Maybe I can break you down.
Mathew, that walk-on was almost as good as Freddie's a few minutes ago. How nice is it to be back on the big stage here?
Oh, it's fantastic. Like you said, it's been 5 years. I've missed it a lot. It's been horrible, watching on the telly for the past few years. But, a lot of hard work, qualifying to get back in the top 16, and it's paid off.
Well, good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Mathew Stevens. And his opponent, one of Scotland's finest exports, winner of 24 ranking event titles, twice a winner of the Masters in 1999 and 2006, the reigning champion of the world, the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins. John, a great reception as always. You've had some fabulous moments in the Masters, but probably quite happy to be at Ali Pali.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 days with Ronnie and Judd and everything, playing in the crowd again today, it's great. So, yeah, hopefully good game today.
It certainly will be. Ladies and gentlemen, John Higgins.
Yes, you heard Rob mention Freddie there. Matthew's son Freddie was part of the walk-on rehearsal today, playing